Hey everybody, this is Nick from Android Headlines. Earlier today we did a little video on a speed test between the Nexus 5X and the Nexus 6P. It was more meant for multitasking performance and that sort of thing, but we got a couple of comments on the community asking for individual app start times and the differences between them. So let's go ahead and do a slightly slower test here, specifically showing just how fast these apps will open individually on the two devices at the same time. So we'll go ahead and just use the same suite of tests. It's the same 10 apps that we had before. These are all closed. We went ahead and rebooted them, and this time around we left them alone for about a half an hour, so just in case there's any kind of background processes going on, anything like that, that should probably be ended at this point. It's definitely been long enough for that. And of course we've already reviewed both of these phones, so we've been using them for a long time with the same accounts on there and everything. So without further ado, let's go ahead and start with the camera. Pressing it at the same time shows almost exactly the same boot speed. It's pretty quick either way. Pressing home is the same deal. We'll go to the Play Store next. Same thing, pretty much the same. These are both on the same Wi-Fi. I'm not exactly sure why the 5X took longer there, but we'll go ahead and come back around again later and see if maybe it does better the second time around. Go ahead and open Calculator since that's a local app. It takes basically zero loading. It's a small app anyway. Chrome Dev, we will load our site. Now I don't necessarily let this load all the way because it has to load a whole bunch of images and it's not even necessarily, look, the 6P didn't even refresh correctly. So we'll go ahead and refresh them. All right, either way, it takes a long time to load a bunch of these images fully. So we'll go ahead and move on to the next one in the test. We'll go to Drive. Again, most of these show opening at basically the same rate, which was our experience in the review. It's more when you're doing a lot of multitasking and things like that that you're going to start to find the slowdown. Go ahead and open Field Trip again in a minute just to get it fully loaded later. Keep, much quicker on the 6P. Clock, which is a local app, again about exactly the same on both. Photos, this should be synced at this point. Again, we've already reviewed these, so there's no reason they shouldn't have been synced earlier, but Google Photos sometimes is a little silly as it's obviously still loading. Again, who knows what it's doing. Regardless, these have been on here for days, so there's no reason it should still be syncing. Translate at the end here. And that's again a local app, so it's going to pretty much load the exact same on both devices. It seems to be more that when the phones have to access information via the network, the 5X seems to chug a little bit more. We'll go back and run through them again. Again, camera. See? So what that shows there is that the 5X definitely had to unload the camera from the RAM, whereas the 6P still had it sitting there, so it loaded very quickly. So if we go out of it and right back in it immediately, it'll probably load immediately. Now, close enough. The 5X's memory is a little bit slower. It's LPDDR3 versus the 6P's LPDDR4, so we are talking a bandwidth issue here as well. Internal storage speed is basically the same on both of them. We'll go ahead and show you that real quick too, just to prove the point. We'll open up SD Tools. It's usually the program of choice we like to test the memory speed with. So we'll start the speed tests. Looks like right off the top, the 6P is a little bit faster, which is consistent again with our review and the writing speed, and the reading speed is quicker on the 5X, which is interesting. Regardless, these both are using software encryption, which is much slower than hardware encryption. It's not possible to turn these off with Marshmallow, unfortunately, so we're going to have to deal with this slightly slower memory speed. We'll go through these again, especially some of these network ones. To the Play Store again. It really is kind of a random thing, it seems like, with a lot of these network-based apps. Very weird. That time Field Trip had to reload. Keep was sitting there. So these are very different results than we got the first time around, which goes to show that you can't always trust tests all the time. We'll go through one more time on each of these. Again, it looks like the camera is unloaded from memory, although the Play Store, and I'm sure a couple of these other apps are still sitting here as well waiting. Both of them are nearly identical at this point. So it doesn't look like they're unloading anything, but the 5X definitely still takes at least a fraction of a second longer to pop some of these apps up over the 6P. And as we've seen before, the 5X is a little laggier than the 6P when it comes to scrolling stuff like this. Again, it is more network related, so that very well could be down to the results that we saw earlier, where it looks like the 5X struggles a little bit more on network related tasks like the browser and Google Now and things like that when it has to grab and multitask between doing a couple different things at once. So there you have it. Hopefully that was a little more in depth for you. I hope that shows app loading time a little better, and it definitely raises some more questions about RAM management on Android and how things are working here and why this wasn't exactly consistent from time to time. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, and if you have any other suggestions for more videos, go ahead and feel free to put them in the bottom here, stick them on Reddit, YouTube, wherever you want. Of course, we're on every social networking site known to man, I'm sure, so if you want to get on there, pop us a message. We'll do our best to answer your questions and hopefully respond with something like this. Thanks for watching. Till next time.